This is Total Retail Tech Insights.
The content retail executives need to optimize their use of technology throughout their organizations.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Tech Insights. I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail, and I'm joined on this episode by Alex Galkin, the CEO and founder of Competera. Alex and I are going to talk a little bit about Competera and the solution that it is offering to help retailers' businesses. So thanks for joining me today, Alex.
And thank you, Joe. Thank you for inviting me and having me today.
So to get us started, why don't we kind of level set and have you tell our audience a little bit about Competera, and then secondly, why noted that you're the founder of the company. Tell us a little bit about the origin story on why you decided to launch Competera.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And an amazing question. Actually, we're on the mission to help retailers to optimize their prices today. And the reason why I started this story, because I spent 6 years in Deloitte, where my team was focusing on exactly the same, helping retailers and brands find their optimal price position cross-border and across days and months. And since that days, it was honestly very, very inefficient. We run multiple thousands hours of the calculation of the strategies, raising up top of Excels, etc. It was so inefficient. And my engineering background, actually my diploma was electronic nodes. When I modeled the small picture based on very early algos of neural network, is like, and my internal engineering background always screaming, hey Alex, we're doing something wrong. And I see how hard it is for retailers to keep their optimal prices and actually receive those advice on some efficient and actually affordable way. And honestly, I came to my boss and trying to create this internally and say, give me the budget, give me the engineers, and we can create it and make all those analysis faster and cheaper for the end user. And my boss turned back to me and say, hey, Alex, you're just killing our business. We're not designed to charge for subscriptions, we charge for hours. And it was really triggered for me, to step down from the very well-paid position and start my own mission with helping retailers to keep optimal prices on a daily basis.
Great. So that gives kind of an overview of the story behind Competera and why you decided to launch it. No, my second question, Alex, is knowing what you know today, if you could go back in time, which would be a great ability for anyone, and give yourself one piece of advice from when you were first starting Competera, what would that be?
Oh, the amazing question. That is a great story because I spent a lot of money trying to do it based on my outsourcing and engineering background. And I think that my biggest advice, guys, you should be a bit crazy to start something. If you have some savings, is a good idea, but you should be a bit crazy. And secondly, just bring your product to the market as soon as possible. Don't wait and don't tune your product multiple months. We will definitely change maybe 8 from 10 features since your launch. Is why bring your product to the market as soon as possible and don't wait the perfect moment.
So let's talk a little bit about what it's like, kind of live a life in the day of you as a tech founder running a truly global company with nearly 100 employees, all of them kind of scattered all over the world in this remote hybrid working environment. Tell us a little bit about what your day looks like in your current role.
Yeah, that's right. It's quite challenging because you need to balance very well your timing. And I'm engineering technically CEO. I have no specific education for or MBAs, what I done before, right, to run the 100 people team. And yeah, I'm crazy about my calendar, and my team knows that I'm good on text and reading communication. Try to minimize calls and face-to-face meetings. If something what we can solve immediately through the conversation over email or Slack, that is the best way to do it. And yeah, that is my morning. Usually the keep sometimes for yourself, for family and health, like the morning gym, then task. Honestly, sometimes my team who will listen to this, honestly, they know it, to book my time is even harder than book the meeting room in the office sometimes. And you need to book it the week in advance. I'm really crazy about the calendar, scheduling all the stuff. Like, yeah, this quite usual days, save some time for the lunch and dinner, and I have very productive conversation with a clear agenda in each of my calendar call. What is the goal of the meeting, attendees, etc. Just I trying to protect the calendar as hard as this possible. Yeah, and it's quite fun. I still trying to be close to the product side, even like, and again, right now in the remote world, I am proud that we probably create a very like great team. They really self-efficient, and we have this like numbers of the values in Competera, and one of the value that is like take full ownership, and actually it means that if you take some task, you really can do it like 100% on your own, and you will request the help if like this is crucial, you need it. Yeah, and actually the second value is actually respect the time of your colleague the more than yourself. I mean that you are not giving like not completed tasks. If you ask something for some help or advice, you think twice before that. Yeah, it helps to keep the lights on,
Yep.
especially just imagine we have customers from New Zealand and United States, and someday you need to woke up at 3 a.m., go sleep like at 12.
Yep, you're really managing across multiple time zones at that point, and it's probably leading to kind of crazy schedules, but in support of the retail clients that you're working with. So, which actually, I kind of want to talk about the retail environment today, considering all that's going on with between rising inflation, some of the overstocks that have been the result of some of the supply chain disruption we've seen in the marketplace. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and hearing from your clients regarding the current retail market, and then secondly, how are you at Competera trying to help retailers address some of those challenges?
Yeah, Joe, thank you. That's a really nice question. And the first of all, yeah, market is crazy in multiple options. So even this crazy starts during the COVID year, right? And then because this is global recession, etc., and war in the middle of the Europe. And the main point that right now the funny fact is like a tailwind for the Competera product, because even in 2018 when we started, it was really, for me, we're trying to evangelize the problem and the need. We say, guys, hey, we can help you to find the optimal price position across like multiple factors, online and offline, to keep the price optimal, to not oversell, to not over rely on competition. But it was like really like the nice to have, because in most cases, like retailers just cutting their prices. Yeah, and they was fine with the result. They chasing only revenue and really and observing the margin and gross profits. Right now is absolutely opposite. You see all those shortage with Walmart, Target announced it, and right now the retailers finally need to rise the price because there's rising of the labor costs, inflations, and they're looking for the optimal solutions. What they try to find the some GP, the bottom line lift, right? And yeah, market is crazy, but again, the COVID actually helped with some adoption for the retail lives. Right now, we can even seeing some backstory, like the people who really rise very well on COVID stuff, because people just sitting at home and shopping, right? When you're boring, you do shopping. And by the way, when you stress, you also do shopping. This is like a scientific fact. But right now we see the retailers in most verticals, as well as I just landed from the grocery shop this year, they see the slight decrease in the customer shoppings, right? They're spending less, not only just because recession, it's just because they also back into their offline world life, right? And honestly, the different retailers, again, depends on their industries. They said that differently. Someone feels anyway they growing in multiple directions. Someone say, oh, we somehow on plateau or even decreasing. Yeah, and as I mentioned, this is like really crazy challenging market, and you right now need to be careful and balance your your P&L by the end of the day, right? But balance your price position, and of course you need to increase your price. By the end of the day, guys, all retailers is increasing the prices, but this is a way they increase the price that way that customer will less affected, and still you will still winning the customer trust. This is a real challenge, as where actually we are helping.
Yeah, let's follow up on that a little bit, Alex. And rising prices are inevitable, and I think consumers are accepting of that, or at least, if not accepting, they understand that all of the costs for retailers, they're also impacted by inflation. So the cost of goods to make product and ship product is going up. So some of that is going to fall down to the consumer in terms of paying more. With that in mind, what are your tips or ideas for brands and retailers that are having to raise costs to combat inflation, to do that and still maintain that customer trust and loyalty? Are there any suggestions, tips you might have around that?
Yeah, the great question again. Thank you. The first of all, the great tips for you, for all of you guys. They right now, they all our consumers, customers, they really know that pricing is growing, right? As well as the same actually when you do shopping before the Christmas, you know that this prices is increasing, right? That is like this is like good thing. I mean that customer in the general, they less compliant about the growing prices because they know they're growing everywhere, including their electricity and utility bills, right? But the great suggestion here is actually try to keep price to know your, we call this super KPIs, the items what really brings you great traffic, and try if you have enough strong data insights here, like what we done, we suggest you to keep the super KPIs as low as possible, even a bit less than your gross profit targets, or even like gross margin, sorry, targets, or on that same price, or even a bit lower, just because you can continue saving this trust. But we call this a portfolio effect. And when you know the piece of banana generate the main traffic on this corner shop, the keep generating this. Do not change the price on your KPI items, please. And we call this super KPI because this KPI can be like location specific or even time of the day specific. Yeah, on those key items, I suggest to keep the price as low as possible, even if you know that it brings you a loss margin. And this will anyway brings you and distribute this loss margin on this other products in your store. And this is actually I hope this is consumers will not hear this. We all hear professional retailers, right? But yeah,
Right. Yeah.
this is a suggestion.
So Competera's product in mind, let's talk about the retail landscape and whether retailers and brands, do you believe, are ready for massive adoption of artificial intelligence-based pricing and using that as a tool to help them price their goods and services? Tell me a little bit about what you see in terms of the market adoption level now, currently, and where you think it's trending, or where you think it should be trending.
That amazing. That is an interesting fact. Again, just Gartner just posted probably early this year, even before the recession became so strong. They posted the analysis they called AI use case price for retail. I don't know if you have some like follow-up materials to your podcast, I can send you this. They actually analyzed all possible innovation in retail and put them in like in the summit triangle, like this business value creation, a lot of like pressure on the bottom line, feasibility. It is 23 innovation, and they put number one innovation is actually innovation in pricing, promo, and markdown optimization, just because this is only one thing what give you the bottom metrics higher, right? And by the way, this drone delivery and or mixed reality is number 23, because they will not back to your P&L shortly. And yeah, and I think that in the global, this is retail absolutely ready. They have no chance. I mean, also, like this labor cost is growing. We can hiding this, but all know that is AI automation right now is a king. And I see, for example, even on those conference, how many fun automation project was done where people spend less time on this monkey job, as I said, right? And they right now focusing on choosing the strategy or validating some AI suggestion or AI recommendations. Yeah, in my opinion, this is already started maybe more than 2 years ago, like massive AI adoption in retail space. And retail is getting better right now because the main bottleneck was there just on their data lakes. They actually technically was not ready on the data foundation. Right now, situation is much better. And yeah, that Gartner says that is all fine, and they even showing the order of the areas where you should adopt AI first.
With that in mind, Alex, talk a little bit about some of the, there's ingrained ways of doing things, and this is a use of AI for something that is as important to the consumer as pricing. Is got to, retailers are going to have to shift mindsets a little bit sometimes. This has always been kind of thought as a merchant's responsibility in terms of pricing and thinking about that. Handing that over to a technology such as artificial intelligence requires some sort, some level of a mindset shift that within a retail organization. That said, tell us some of the legacy mistakes that you're seeing most retailers make, in terms of their blind spots with respect to their current pricing strategies.
Great question. My opinion that the greatest mistakes is actually not taking innovations there. I can't mention, of course, the names, but really billion-dollar retailers, multi-billion-dollar retailers still manage their pricings in Excel. If you know, guys, for example, like any big banks like JP Morgan or investment bankers, they hiring not mathematician for trade, right? But they allows algo trade. I mean, the category managers in retail, they great product pickers, and they should be great on that. If something can help them, they honestly sometimes even has a very, very limited education in basic analytics or basic math, and them to force them to trade is actually was like legacy mistake of retail, what I've seen from my 6 years career in Back 4 as well. And this is, I mean, absolutely opposite right now. To give them this help is actually the second biggest mistake. They think that is AI or any software they will replace them. Is absolutely not.
Right.
This is actually Excel on steroids. Is actually third brain in the room, what can help you and model. Just imagine, on the assortment of 7,000 items in the store, we model more than atoms in the universe, the price optimal possible price combinations before the system recommend you your optimal position. And right now AI became quite really is no more like a black box. Right now is more like a white or a gray box, if you want to call that. I mean, they will see the reasons why the model pushing this price there. For example, they can show you that is a trend is going down, demand is going down. For example, no sense to follow competitor if you want to achieve your stock targets. Yeah, you should go by price even lower than competitor to keep your target on this on the assortment, right? And this is something what we are continuously facing. For example, we just launched the free of charge the link digital course for price optimization, pricing basics. We try to educate people to not afraid the advanced technologies, and if your Excel can calculate 20 different factors and showing you the possible variation of the future, why I should avoid this and not use it.
Yeah, being willing to have that innovative mindset and use technology wisely as a complementary tool. To your point, Alex, this isn't replacing people's jobs. This is helping them do them smarter, and work more effectively in the end, right?
Yeah, by the way, actually, I'm historically seeing, like, we also, like 2018 on the market, we can see how actually the average age of a category manager is developed, like they became younger and younger. And technically right now that is easier to deliver the stuff. They already expect that modern tools should help them with the complicated calculations. You should be as a coach on the field, right? You need to select the strategy, where I should go. I should go there, and all the rest, like this complicated calculations, what actually human brain just even can't imagine, they just should be delegated to the machines, and it happens right now everywhere. But you're absolutely right, is about just the right understanding.
And you mentioned the critical factor that speed plays into this as well. The amount of data crunching that an artificial intelligence model can do, speeds up the process. You can then optimize your pricing up or down based upon demand at that current time, right? So in kind of operating in real time versus taking days or hours, days, weeks to change pricing to optimize, and then potentially missing windows for that.
Absolutely. And actually, or not doing nothing. I say there's the biggest insights what we found that is most of the wrong pricing decisions what actually not made. I mean that is doing nothing is the biggest
Yeah.
problem we seeing in the historical data. Just people just not react that, and then they scoping this quarter report and say, oh, where it was sale, where is our sales? But I guess where you was 3 months ago, what is really happens, that they was busy for
Yeah.
something.
Having that static pricing strategy that's not it being optimized in real time really can impact margins, and then obviously the P&L, as you noted earlier. So thinking about consumer behavior, it's become omni-channel. They're looking online, then they're going in store potentially to make the purchase, or vice versa. They're looking at things in store before, maybe it's more convenient for them. They'd rather have it shipped to their home, so they're buying online. How does pricing factor into that in terms of consistency? So used to be the school of thought was that pricing had to match online and offline in your stores. Is that still the case in your opinion? And I would imagine there's greater challenges for retailers in optimizing pricing in store, given the kind of the time, it's more of a manual process, I would imagine. So talk about pricing consistency between channels and how AI can help there as well.
Great question. Actually, it was amazing conversation back probably like 2021. The first at NRF conference, it was a huge panel about the omni-channel and non-omni pricing. That if you are a retail professional and listening probably this your podcast, they know that the elasticity is different, right? Even cost structure is different between online and offline. And you're absolutely right, the competition is faster and maybe more busy in some particular products. And technically, from the money-wise, is no sense to keep the same price in a both channel. And right now, this again, I called it a huge trend. The omni-channel doesn't mean omni price. And again, the fun fact that customers also notice that. And of course, depends on the industry. And some consumer electronics, you want to see your laptop at the same price online and offline. And what is actually happening right now? First of all, retailers continuously shifting that. They technically has a different prices in different channel, because for example, you're selling through Amazon as well, right? Amazon is absolutely different audience, is a 3 times, 4 times more competition than your offline store, what's staying on the middle of nowhere, for example, right? You have no direct competition in close 5 kilometers around your store, or miles, sorry. And this is something what AI right now really have a cool help that you can see in real data-driven insights. For example, like only 5% in average, your audience is actually your multi-channel audience who buying online and offline. In most cases, the majority of the audience stick to one channel. They can do comparison, of course, and depends on by the way, of course, on the item price. If you're buying the new refrigerator or TV, you will be watching this, etc. By the way, the YouTube is a more the place where you selecting the item, and then you just search in the Google and buying in the closest place or cheapest place. Yeah, it is my how AI is actually helping that. They helping to actually highlight those items, what you should keep single price in different channels, and actually drive those great experience of your customer, that they are not confused by the situation. And then knowing the items what actually was selling and buying only by some specific audience in this specific store and that specific area of again, depends on like your cross-border retail or your huge offline retail. You have customers in California and same time in New York or Washington. That is where algos can help just you to again segment your items, show you insights, and help you with the strategy. For some categories or for some retailers, they make sense to keep the same price, but in most cases, again, from the P&L perspective, and to help retailers to walk away from this problem with a shortage and dropping their businesses and margins, it's better to keep the optimal price in a channel. Is one of the way how you can optimize your GM.
Yeah, because we've seen this kind of dynamic pricing model in other industries outside of retail. I mean, travel comes right to my mind. You see dynamic pricing with hotels based on demand, and airlines, based upon demand at the time, and prices could change. You could look an hour later and the price of a flight has changed dramatically. Do you see retailers kind of getting in that mindset and they're, and getting to a point where pricing is changing? I know you used the example of Amazon, and it is already doing that. Like more and more retailers, optimizing pricing continuously throughout the purchase process.
Yeah, good question. Actually, I am not big fan of that. Even you see, we're doing the pricing software, right, Joe? But I always say that pricing should be dynamic. Price should be optimized. Look, the AI itself is not a human. And again, that's the first part of your question is amazing because yeah, this is a travel industry. This really generate this stuff, but they has a multiple reason for that. For example, we not travel with you the same time and same day into the same city, right? It happens really, really rarely. But when you shop something and you buy, I don't know, new drone and with a good price on the Best Buy, you will share this experience with your neighbors, right? And they will go there and they will see different price. And that's what they in professional world call it price discrimination trap. And for retailers, it's really easy to get to those price discrimination trap that they try. And it was earlier cases. I actually had a huge pitch about that on the wrong way how retail try to leverage this dynamic pricing. And I will say your prices should be optimal, not dynamic. What it means? The AI itself, for example, in our algo, that is like 20 factors. And all what model do, they try to put you on the optimal position. If demand is not changed or something is, the model actually don't try to force you to change items every hour. They try to find the optimal price and don't keep it as long as possible, because it's also for a lot of items is very good, the people really like them prices stable, honestly, right? Consumers really like the prices stable, but same time, they already in the game. They already know it, that it can change, is no compliance. It was Pricewaterhouse on the great research on that stuff. And the customer said that they looking for optimal prices, not minimal prices, optimal. And optimal means, for example, when I go into my office and I want to have like bottle of water, I'm happy to pay like $4 per water in my block, in my office building, right? But when I do my weekend shopping, I would be stressed by this price. I need to go, I'm happy to go outside the city and make all this purchase. And yeah, my answer, like for retailers, please bring the line. The dynamic pricing is not great because we should be very careful with that, because to get to this price discrimination trap is super easy and actually destroy your audience. But your pricing can be optimized. I mean, you can change price this in the same cadence, for example, weekly for offline retailers, as most happens on the weekly basis, and daily for online, or several times a day. But you need to review your pricing decision. Doesn't mean that you need to change it. And this is like some difference. And the right algos, exactly helping you with that. Analyze if all our elasticities is fine, elasticity to the store location, to competitor, to the stock, etc., is fine. They will stay. The latest algos is also was some biased around those dynamic algos, because some companies honestly trying to copy those travel way of pricing, and is absolutely not applicable for retail, because we have a demand, we have a customer, we should care about him, because he will return tomorrow or day after tomorrow, or he will say his neighbor, hey, look, I make the great deal. You should be sure that you can make the deal again and not lose the trust. Is why, in my opinion, yeah, it's not about dynamic, it's all about optimized position. But if the market is like that and you need to change because the market is shifted, you should be able to.
So you've provided some really great insights and advice here, Alex, on pricing strategy and what retailers need to be thinking about. I'm interested if you're going to give any final thoughts for our audience on what they should be thinking about, or one final takeaway as they evaluate their current pricing strategies. What would that be?
Yeah, I want to suggest like two basic things. The first one, of course, we on the time when we need to save our restore our gross profits and gross margins, and the way we need to find the right way to do so. And actually, this is about rethinking, restructuring the category structure, and finally shift. We call this the portfolio-based pricing. It means that we consider several items at the time when we deciding the optimal price. Is only one way how you can slowly increase your prices, but same time keep your customer trust. and not lost that trust. This first thing. And the second takeaway, I think retail need to continue investing in data lakes and data structuring, because the most of the software what right now rising and will rising next 3, 5, 10 years, all those AI tools in marketing, in supply chain, in pricing and promotion, they all base it on historical data and well-structured data. If you can actually say and proud by your data storage is where you should focus on. I still see some customers and retailers, they're focusing on building products. Don't build the products. Your main product is actually data, what you own. If you can really invest in data structuring, data warehousing, and optimal way of connecting different vendors for different needs, this is something what you really will win in next 3 to 5 years. And for you, it would be not a problem any other situation, global situation. You will be able to implement the right solution in the right time and actually optimize your prices, warehouses, or something like this.
So that's a great place, I think, to wrap up today's conversation. You've provided a lot of insights. Alex, for those that want to learn more about Competera, how it might be able to help their retail businesses, and other resources that you might have available, what would you tell our audience?
Cool, thank you. We have a great pricing community at LinkedIn where we're supporting, and actually the majority of the key pricing experts in the retail market is playing there. Please come and visit and join our LinkedIn community. Also, we're sharing there all our insights on our website. You can find a very useful piece of content in the blog about the pricing challenges and the key takeaways, as well as the key studies, and as well as I mentioned before, the free of charge our academy, and you can push your merchants to at least visit this and pass the course. It's like 5 hours course, and they can get this basic pricing certificate about the basics in pricing, and they will know a lot of interesting stuff and probably return this and the margins tremendously. Yeah, please join this community, and we about the sharing the knowledge and trying to invest this as much as we can.
Great. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank Alex Galkin, the CEO and founder of Competera, for joining us on this episode of Total Retail Tech Insights. Thank you, Alex.
Right, thank you, Joe.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Tech Insights is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Tech Insights.